Dr. Ehab El-Hagar, the floor is yours. Before everything, I would like to thank all the attendees for coming here, and I would like to thank Dr. Abla for hosting this important workshop. I cannot stress the importance of this workshop enough, and of course, I would like to thank my dear colleague, Dr. Mahmoud. I haven't seen him in 15 years. I'm very happy to meet him now here before starting the presentation entitled Digital Transformation. Digital transformation is a very, very broad topic. If we want to discuss digital transformation, that might take us 1 month to hold workshops on a daily basis in order to cover all the aspects, not all the aspects, just the key elements of digital transformation. Today, in my presentation, I will focus on the infrastructure readiness in Egypt for digital transformation. This is the agenda, what is meant by digital transformation, and here I'm referring to the definition, meaning, and some important specifics about the importance of digital transformation, whether in Egypt or all over the world. And then I will discuss certain business case or case studies to discuss the situation before digital transformation and after transformation to study the challenges and the benefits. We are not going to reinvent the wheel, and I cannot stress that enough. We shouldn't start from scratch. We shouldn't go back to square one. Why do we need to teach again ABC? No, we need to build on other experiences, and I cannot copy since each experience is very specific. And then, what are the three main things when it comes to infrastructure for digital transformation? Again, from the perspective of a government or a state. I'm not wearing the hat of an enterprise or multinational companies, because this is a very different trend than the trend we're discussing today. So here in Egypt or in any other country, we need three main things, and Dr. Mahmoud referred to these three elements: broadband, and where we are from the latest technology in this regard, mobile, mobile data, or the cellular network, or IB version 6, which is the international numbering for devices or the internet numbering protocol. You have IP version 4 and IP version 6, of course. Each device has a single IP, and there are many ways to do so, but at the very end, you need a unique IP address. Why specifically IP version 6? Is it just because it's trendy and the latest technology? No. There is a special benefit that we can get from IB6. The digital transformation, which is a broad term, can be defined as the activities, processes, competencies, and models. One of the key things I discussed with Dr. Mahmoud before the workshop is the fact that we always consider infrastructure as the main thing. No, I have a bigger challenge: culture here. Culture. I don't mean that people are cultured or not cultured. No, I'm not here referring to education or knowledge. I want people to have the culture or the awareness that this is right or wrong, this is halal or haram, this is true or false. You need to highlight what cannot be done, but you cannot tell me this person is multilingual or he studied abroad and this is illiterate. No, this is not the point. We need people to be aware of what's right, what's wrong, rewards and punishment. And this is very relevant to telecommunication companies here. Digital transformation for governments is very important, and this is a service, or rather building something for the citizens in order for them to use the government services. Just like Dr. Mahmoud said, the government is working on connecting the infrastructure in the minister. Just like Amr Adib in his talk show, he says Ms. Samia in 10th floor will advise you to go to the fourth floor. Yeah, yeah, the devil lies in the details, you know. But this is real suffering daily. Whenever you go to the treasure man, he will tell you, I don't have enough change, and you would bear the burden. Now, the initiative announced by the state 2 days ago is excellent. Cashless payment. Yes, this we have a draft law or a draft bill in the parliament now. If we look at the countries applying this abroad, and I'm not here referring to Europe or the US or Asia, here I'm referring to neighboring countries like Arab countries. So in KSA, you cannot have the power cut and then pay some money in order to get the power back, and there is no certain collector to come and knock at your door to collect the bills. This was stopped 15 years ago. Everything is linked due to the ID number, or what is known there as the residence number, if you're not like an original Saudi. So everything is linked, water bills, and the same holds true for Bahrain. If you want to register a company there, I was honored to have an engineering consultancy in Bahrain a while ago, and if I want to register my office, then I need to document the water, electricity, and municipal uh, bills, and all this is linked to my commercial registrar and is linked to my residence permit number. This happens in our brotherly Arab neighboring countries, and it's never too late. If we want to refer to the barriers to digital transformation, too many competing priorities. Someone from the audience referred to that. Priorities. What do we mean by this word? Do I need to start with the infrastructure, or I start with educating people or purchasing software and hardware? We have passive and active infrastructure. Do I need to start with the passive or the active infrastructure? Or should we start with the business model? I need to have a business model first to know. Let's set everything aside and now move to data integrity or data integration. And we might say that the data is not there, or it's not integrated, or it's not coordinated. And with all my sorrow, the situation here in Egypt is that everything starts shiny and then it fades and become very bleak. No more bleak situations in Egypt. We all want to start and end shiny. You know, the subway was such a great achievement. Now people don't want to use the subway. When it was first founded, it was like a monument. Now people don't like to take it or to drive near the station. We have many, many examples of countries who are ahead of us now, and they are not done. They just started. Because the start is very important. If you want to start, you need to know it's a very, very long journey. In 2015, Australia started digital transformation office in order to observe digital information, and I think Dr. Ehab said so. They issue certain reports in the UK to trace the digital transformation in the UK. This is a slide on the IPC and the expectations of the different sectors. Now we are speaking horizontally, generally, but we need to take also the vertical approach. We need to tackle each sector on its own. Health sector, when to start and when to end. Commerce, when to start and when to end. IDC and other think tanks all over the world are concerned with the end date in 2019. For example, the UBI will be done, or in 2026, the paramedics and emergency rooms will be fully digitized. This is the forecast of IDC. When Sweden started in 2000, why did I choose Sweden? They did it because of two things. Because they wanted to increase economic resources, and they thought that going digital will be very helpful to market products. Second, in order to reduce the cost, despite the fact that the project cost was big. So the infrastructure alone costed them $900 million back then. In in order to people to enjoy 100 megabytes per second years later. They are not yet fully transformed, but they are on the right track, and they have a office, a government office to track that. The last thing here is digital infrastructure. This is the last thing to think of because, believe me, it's a very daunting task. It's a very time-consuming one, but as for IT experts, it's a piece of cake. It's not rocket science. It's like three basic elements, the cost of which are known. People always comment on the cost. Vendor vendors have a problem with the cost when it comes to government, and the government also have a problem when it comes to cost. There are many ways in the business, or in the business model. You need to care for the financing or the funding for such projects can be helped by intelligent cities or smart cities. Why do I need to go to the government? I have people who can pay in millions without any political agendas. They just want to make money. So, for example, we can start to advertise for a certain product for the interested strata. So instead of marketing for 30 million, you will advertise for 1 million. This is very important when it comes to funding, and this is a separate topic. We need to discuss this in a lecture. I need to hurry up. That's why I'll jump ahead to digital infrastructure. This is the Sweden's case. Here, latest technology in broadband. I will refer to graph, but the GBON is the first thing, which is the giga speed over passive network. That's why it's called GBON, and it's the most expensive because it costs from $500 to $3,000, which is a per line. and this is the average product. And I'm not referring to the Chinese version, the cheapest ones, no. No, there is another thing called G now. I'm discussing the technologies as opposed to a VDSL. This is the next technology. But G-Bond is already there, G now is already there, G-Fast is not available yet here. And there's something called the vectored VDSL. If you speak to your ISP and tell them I have IDSL, no, it's not, it's a VDSL. There's something called the EDSL 2 plus, and VDSL is the latest. It's 100 mega, and the vector is from 50 to 100 mega, and this depends on the distance. Because sometimes you're upset with the ISP, calling them, telling them it's a very, very bad quality service. But in fact, it depends on the distance. For non-vectored technologies, the distance should be 5 kilometers between you and the ONT. After that, the speed deteriorates with higher distances. Is that applied in Egypt? Dr. Mahmoud referred to the fact that they are starting fiber optics or fiber to home. But you need, of course, to pay much for this connection. But it's important because I have to be connected 24/7. Um, Internet is considered as a luxury, but it's no longer the case. Just when cell phones were introduced, they were a luxury, but now it's a must to have. So broadband, here I am referring to fixed broadband lines, whether to corporates or homes. Now we have ADSL 2 and VDSL in Egypt. And this is asymmetric transfer. And there is a difference between the symmetric and asymmetric because it's one to one in symmetric, but ADSL is asymmetric. There are many types. I'm sorry, I'm speaking very fast because of the time constraint and the pressure we're under. Sorry for that. The ADSL is shared, but the problem is not with the internet. The 1.6 terabit we enjoy every second is enough, but the sharing is the problem. The maximum capacity of the device is 50 users per line, which is already too high, but they overload it, especially the Chinese devices. And we can see together that we should have a regulatory authority not affiliated to the MCIT. This should be affiliated to Consumer Protection Authority in order to be able to complain about we, Vodafone, or the Egyptian Telecom communication to get an action, not to have it shelved. We have other problems. I was watching a video on Facebook, and then a lady told me the 40 giga package is gone. So this is a problem. But transformation from 4G to 4G, the slide here discusses 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. The plan is to start 5G in other countries in 2020, and nobody even tested that broadly. But 4G is enough because the speed of 4G is 200 mega. There is a typo in the presentation here. It's 200 megabit per second. So if you have mobile data with 200 megabits, you can do everything. But if you need to get an e-government service, I have no trust to do it over the phone, because I would always be certain that it will not work out. Even if I do it abroad, it had nothing to do with being in Egypt. It's about the culture, because the mobile application is an abridged version compared to the website. Last but not least, the IP version 6. This is the last slide I have here. The IP version 4, the one available now, it has 8 optics with binary digits. So we have 32 items, 4 times 8. If you calculate all the probabilities, that would be 2 power 32 in order to get a significant number. But that was a while ago. With the ever increasing population, and maybe one person can have more than 10 devices. Even your clock, your watch is connected to the internet, iPad, laptop, so on. And all these needs IP addresses. And there is something called IoT, which is the new buzzword. It needs higher capacity. So the 32 bit will not be enough. I need to go to something higher, the IP version 6, which is 28 bits. What if you want to calculate this times 4? So this is the 4 times IP addresses available now. If you have time, there are many lectures on IP version 6 given by Egyptian professors. We have a long list of professors just like you, Dr. Ehab. There is a doctor called Nizar Sami. He is a big shot in the field of IP6, and I would like you to watch his YouTube video. IP version 6 is more secure. By default, it has to be applying the security laws, not like the IPv4. And Dr. Ehab is in a better position to discuss this. I'm done. Thank you so much, and I stand ready to answer all your questions.